Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Negropian. In today's video, guys, I gotta say this, I didn't even see this coming myself. A few hours ago, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, made this announcement.
Because it means that economic migrants taking advantage of the asylum system will not get to stay in the UK, while those in genuine need will be properly protected, including with access to legal services on arrival in Rwanda, and given the opportunity to build a new life in that dynamic country, supported by the funding we are providing. The deal we've done is uncapped, and Rwanda will have the capacity to resettle tens of thousands of people in the years ahead. And let's be clear, Rwanda is one of the safest countries in the world, globally recognized for its record on welcoming and integrating migrants. Later this year, it will welcome leaders from across the Commonwealth. And before the pandemic, in 2018, the IMF said Rwanda was the world's fourth fastest growing economy. We're confident that our new migration partnership is fully compliant with our international legal obligations. But nevertheless, we expect this will be challenged in the courts. And if this country is seen as a soft touch for illegal migration by some of our partners, it is precisely because we have such a formidable army of politically motivated lawyers who for years have made it their business to thwart removals and frustrate the government. So I know that this system will not take effect overnight, but I promise that we will do whatever it takes to deliver this new approach.
I just can't believe this. It just seems so random. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rwanda? Why Rwanda? It sounds kind of random, doesn't it? But there is a reason why they have chosen Rwanda. There is also a reason why Paul Kagame has actually accepted the terms that the British were offering. Now, of course, after this announcement, all these charities and these Human Rights Watch and everybody else were up in arms. They were saying, Rwanda? Rwanda? How could you send these people to Rwanda? Well, what the hell's wrong with Rwanda? Rwanda, now don't get me wrong, I know Rwanda. I know it has problems currently, definitely economically. You will see many countries around the world, especially in Africa, countries like Mauritius, countries that are not the wealthiest countries in the world, countries where people don't have huge disposable incomes. But these people are happy, way happier than people in Western Europe and in North America. So Rwanda cannot be that bad, can it? No. In my point of view, I think that there are positives to be taken out for everybody, not just for the British government, but for those people who are being sent there and the populace of Rwanda. In today's video, I'm going to tell you 5 ways how Rwanda will be able to capitalize from what they have done with this move to process the asylum seekers now entering the United Kingdom. First, I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share, click the bell notification, and please consider supporting the channel on our Patreon link in the description. I'd also like to invite you to please follow the Oversight channel, the channel that is there to help you to invest on the African continent, both safely and securely. Link also in the description. So we're going to start with number 1, the obvious one, money. The British taxpayer will have to fork out $2 billion a year for Rwanda to process these asylum seekers. Now, guys, it isn't just $2 billion and that's it. $2 billion, and there will also be bonuses based on performance, and also there will be a lot of money going under the table to a lot of these politicos in the dark blue suits, that this is a process that will continue for the foreseeable future. Number 2, an increased educated populace. Most of the people who are asylum seekers are very well educated. The vast majority of the ones that came from the Middle East were either students in university or they had already graduated from university and they just didn't have the ability to find themselves a job in that country. Increasing the amount of people in your country that has the ability, that has the intelligence to work as engineers or scientists or doctors, anyone like that, is always going to be a positive for your society, not just for the politicians, but for everybody overall. In a small country like Rwanda, that would increase the quality of life for everyone. Number 3, the lowering of ethnic tensions. Yes, guys, the elephant is in the room and we are now going to have to speak about it. We all know what happened in Rwanda 20 years ago. I cannot say it because this is YouTube. And you know what YouTube is like. So, what happened in Rwanda 20 years ago? You know that the Tutsis and the Hutus, well, you know what happened. And although the West were quick to sort of be quiet about what Paul Kagame did afterwards, we all know that Paul Kagame did whatever he had to do. Nobody speaks about this, but I did speak about this in a video that I made almost 2 years ago. When you see what Paul Kagame did, I would say that it is just as bad, if not worse, because it was calculated, it was cruel what he's doing, and it has the backing of the Western governments. But that is another video, guys. The link is in the description, or I might even put it up here so you can take a look at that video if you so feel fit to. So you had the Tutsis and the Hutus, and they've been at loggerheads, and they've been at loggerheads for an extremely long time. And the reason for this is that, well, there isn't many other ethnicities or races living in Rwanda. So if you go to Rwanda, you can almost bet that you're either going to bump into either a Hutu or a Tutsi. It's going to be one or the other. Yes, there are other tribes there, but the Hutus and the Tutsis outnumber those other tribes 10 to 1. So what happens now? Now you have a growing populace of people with different ethnicities, different races, different religions who are now coming in to the melting pot. And these guys will... And when these guys come in, what you will see now is a lowering in those ethnic tensions, simply because there are other people who are going to be there to keep an eye on. Now, guys, I'm not telling these guys that they need to keep an eye on these foreigners, okay? I'm not that type of person. But at the end of the day, we all know what these types of people are like. Wow, that sounded really bad, didn't it? No, I don't mean it like that. Rarely do you see people come from a different country and act all nice when they come into the host country. Look at Israel, okay? It rarely happens. So I would say that when you got people who come from countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, there's people who have come out of ISIS. You don't know who these people are. You don't know where they have come from. And now they are flooding into your country. This means that the security forces of Rwanda are going to have their job cut out for them. And that is in order to protect the general public of Rwanda. But the good thing is that those people in Rwanda, what have they done to the people in Afghanistan? What have they done to the people in Iraq or in Iran? What have they done? Nothing. So you're not going to get that type of reaction from them. This is part of the reason why I feel that Paul Kagame has accepted this deal with open arms. Number 4, the increase in economic development. So you got a lot of these people who are tradesmen. Tradesmen, they are people who own shops, you know. These are the types of people who come from these countries, namely the Middle East and other African countries too. These people are intelligent, they're business savvy. When you have a populace come into your country just like that, they're only going to spur more economic development. And when you have these people in Rwanda and they are chemists or they are biologists and they are saying, well, you have all this cobalt and you're just sending it away to be processed. Hey, listen, Mr. Paul Kagame, listen. Don't send it away. Let's process it here. You will make 10 times the amount of money if you find a way to process it here. Now you have the brains to do it. Let us do it. That's just one of the things that they were doing. Let's remember, Rwanda is the world's #1 exporter of cobalt. Yes, the tiny little country of Rwanda. Once again, explained in the video that I made all that time ago. Once again, explained in the video that I made, link in the description. And number 5, leverage. Paul Kagame is not stupid. Paul Kagame is actually an extremely intelligent man. We all know this. Those people in the West also know this. He knows how to play the game. He knows that if he can do something as small as this, that is accepting 50,000 people, which is not a lot of people, let's be honest. If he can do it and he can make it a sustainable model for Rwanda, a tiny country like Rwanda, in order for them to generate more capital, to generate their economy, to build better infrastructure, to make Rwanda a better country than what it is right now, then he will do it. But the best thing about it is now he can turn around and say to the UK, well, I did this for you, Mr. Boris Johnson. What are you going to do for me? There are plenty of things that the British can do for Rwanda. One of those things is keeping quiet about what is happening next door in the DRC. And it will explain to you how what happened in Rwanda 20 years ago is still ongoing to this day. It isn't just by accident that the West love Paul Kagame. There's a reason for it, and that's because he knows how to play the game. He's doing his thing. And let's face it, the people of Rwanda are benefiting from it. Increasing the quality of life is only going to increase the chances of some big North American country coming in and saying, hey, we'd like to build a base in your country. Why not? And then the corporations are going to come in. Hey, we want to build a laboratory here. Volkswagen have already built a manufacturing service right there. So that is only the beginning. There are plenty of other things that are going to be a positive. Let's face it, if you are British, then you know that all Boris Johnson is doing is everything in his power to make sure he stays in office. He is desperate. He has just been fined by the police. It's the first time it has ever happened in 300 years in the United Kingdom, and he's this close from being kicked out of office. He knows that if he can pander to the who don't want the brown-skinned people coming into their country, then he can keep his job at number 10 a little longer. Until the next time, please think twice. Ta-ra a bit.